Hello, Internet, and welcome back to the story Nook. Today we are going to be reading more of I'd Rather Have a Cat Than a Harem, reincarnated to the world of an Otome game as a cat-loving villainess by Kozuzu Kobatsu, and artist is Hinano Chano. Enjoy me mispronouncing this. This is the first book in the series, and we are on chapter 1 still. I should have looked at the page number before I scrolled down. But last time we left off here about them feeding Amy more food. We're still in chapter 1. My husband came home from work and I wanted to spend time with him, so I took that time. And also the video was like 30 minutes, so you guys can enjoy having these little breaks. So yeah, so let's go ahead and continue reading forward. I've got water to drink for my hydration. I hope you have like your tea, your hot cocoa, your coffee, your energy drink, whatever it is you want to drink. I also, speaking because this book is cat themed, I have my cat laying in my bed with me. He is currently curled up by my knees as I read this book to you. So let's move forward. The truth was, not much changed in Amy's home life since she remembered her previous life. The past and present blended together so seamlessly that when the family would reminisce about the past when they were alone, sometimes their old mannerisms would slip out. But Amy was born in this world, and her 10 years of lived experience had permeated into every nook and cranny of her being. Even if she tried to change back into the exact person she was before, it would be impossible. The past was, after all, the past. It didn't hold a candle against the present. Amy was quite relieved that although her previous life was a part of her, it wasn't so strong that it blotted out or completely overwrote the person she was now. Even if it had just been 10 years, she had been worried she might not even know where she stood if everything she had ever known was replaced by her previous life. Her parents and her brother had told her they had gone down that same road and worked through those feelings. Amy certainly felt lucky that they had all reincarnated together. With so many family members with so much experience close by to guide her, she didn't suffer too much confusion and disorientation other than the initial shock, and she had been able to rather easily reconcile her past with her present. Though her mental age had increased, her basic nature of being outgoing at home but timid in public hadn't changed, so she didn't exhibit any outwardly perceivable changes. Her taste in dresses and accessories did become a little less childish, but the servants did not seem to be particularly concerned about this, with one whispering, "It may be a little early, but is she getting to be around that age?" And then there was Amy's wish to have a pet. "What? Learn healing magic? Me?" "Yes," her father replied. "We can't jump the gun and assume you won't develop allergies in this life. If there's a way to prevent them, then of course we should do that. But if an allergy attack does happen, then we must know how to treat it." Amy's father had told her that she had to first learn magic if she wanted to have a pet. His argument was that if Amy could perform healing magic, she could deal with allergy symptoms on her own. Not only that, but if she learned purification and protective magic, she might be able to eliminate allergens and prevent any allergy attacks altogether. Overprotective Dado. Alrighty. That makes sense. But couldn't you just make a magical tool that could treat allergies? Excuse me, my glasses are a little bit dirty. I'm gonna wipe them off. Let me know if other light novels you guys would like me to read in the future. Or fan fictions, regular books. Let me know. I'm curious what you guys would be interested in listening to me read. I specialize in machines, so I'm not too familiar with the medical field. And in any case, the very idea of allergies hasn't even been discovered in this world yet. Luducia's conflicts with its neighboring kingdoms had recently cooled off, so there had been little need of late for rapidly developed weaponized magical tools. As a result, the total budget allocated for the Department of Magical Tools was only getting smaller and smaller. I mean, peace is a good thing, but still, the Earl of Northland complained lightheartedly to his wife and daughter. I understand why the budget favors the Order of Knights and the Order of Magicians over tools. They're easy to parade around to deter any attacks, and training the right people takes time and effort. We just don't have the funds right now to research magical tools that combat completely unknown things like allergies. There's hardly enough money for our department to keep the lights on. They're being pretty tight-fisted, huh? Her mother quipped to her father, who smirked back. Well, I guess it's better than wasting money, Amy piped up, not sure what else to say. But I understand why you've given me a condition to meet, she continued. I'll work harder at studying magic. Then I can get a cat, right? Yes. Achieve an overall mastery of healing magic first, and then you may get one pet to start out with. And how I'll judge if you've truly learned healing is, that's it, I'll ask Hal. Harold? That's right, he gets hurt all the time exploring dungeons, so I'm sure he's familiar with what correct healing magic feels like. Students had to be in a group before they were allowed to enter forests, dungeons, or other places where magical beasts lived. And at least one of the group members had to know how to use healing magic. Amy's older brother, Harold, had never received any serious life-threatening injuries, but cuts, scratches, and bruises were commonplace during his adventures. He was patched up every time, so he would definitely be the one in the family most used to receiving healing magic. The following week, when Harold was visiting home from school, Amy let him in on their plan. He laughed and agreed. Sounds great. When the time comes and you feel ready, I'll skip the healing after a hunt and swing home then. But let someone heal you there if you get really badly hurt. Then when you get home, maybe you can try getting hurt again, like you could fall down a few stairs or open a letter aggressively and cut your hand with a letter opener. That's not exactly easy to do, you know. You can do it, Harold, cheered his mother, completely untroubled from the sidelines. The corner of Harold's mouth twitched at the absurdity of it all. Amy also let Harold know about her otome game theory, but he didn't have much in the way of a reaction. He never did have any interest in video games made for girls. But that as it may, Amy thought about how much trouble would come if he were to follow the game's trajectory as a result of being made aware of it, so she reconsidered how much she'd tell him. You know, on one of the game's screens, there was a character that looked a lot like you, except he had a scar just there, she said, tracing her finger over the outer tip of his eyebrow, right next to the corner of his right eye, to just above his cheekbone. The scar left behind, just a thin echo of a line, contributed a lot to the character's adventurer and wild playboy aura. But Amy suddenly became worried. If Hal actually did get an injury by his eye like that, he would be at a very real risk of going blind in that eye. A scar, huh? Harold said. I do sometimes get injuries on my face, but none deep enough to leave a scar. If healing magic is applied soon after, it gets all fixed up, you see. They must have left that scar there on purpose for sure. But why? 'Cause it kinda looks sexy? Girls would like it. Stuff like that. Spoken just like a pubescent boy, Isabel sighed. Can't you imagine how sad you would make me if you scarred up your face for a stupid reason like that? I'm not gonna do it. I have a girlfriend, you know. Harold surprised his mother once again when the girlfriend in question was different from the one they heard about before. The Northland family never stipulated that their children's marriages had to be political. They essentially encouraged their children to love whoever they wanted, and it was their parents' long-standing policy that children would not be forced into an engagement before they turned 18. This attitude was why Harold was allowed to date around so casually, as long as he could accept personal responsibility for the consequences. and why the conversation in her father's study about the third prince's engagement was such an unusual occurrence for the Northlands. I'm not two-timing these girls or anything, Harold injected, but every time I get told, sorry, this just isn't working out. It's not like I'm doing anything wrong. Aren't you constantly out hunting monsters, though? Amy asked reasonably. Can't you see how they get fed up with that and just end up calling it quits? Hunting monsters is fun, Harold said, flustered. Obviously, I do it as much as I can. Harold, came a threatening voice. As Harold cowered under his mother's glare, Amy almost felt like she had been transported into her previous life, and their brother was getting scolded for staying up too late, playing video games, and neglecting his homework. If something Amy had loved that much had become possible to do in real life, she probably would have gotten obsessed about it too. Not to mention he had worked quite hard to make his name known as a real adventurer. With the results of all these efforts on the cusp of coming to fruition, Amy could understand where he was coming from. I'll tell these girls that the biggest loves of I tell these girls that the biggest loves in my life are my two swords, but they still go on about how lonely they are when I'm in dungeons and how I need to spend more time with them. I just can't win. What am I supposed to do? I bet even on dates you talk to them about the best way to loot monsters, don't you? Amy said, smiling. What's wrong with that? Girls like Jules, don't they? They should have fun talking about the stuff they enjoy. It was certainly possible to get jewels from the corpses of magical beasts, but Amy seriously doubted whether there was a single girl alive who would rejoice at hearing a detailed play-by-play of the gory scene of Harold chopping up a monster's body to retrieve them. Isabel laughed. Well, Harold, it sounds like we need to have a little chat about how to build interpersonal relationships. Mom, he groaned. The Northland house had always been full of pleasant conversation, even before Amy had remembered her previous life. But now they were even more unreserved, like some invisible barrier between them had been torn down. Amy was happy. It was more fun this way. Speaking on behalf of his long line of ex-girlfriends, Isabella gave Harold sharp but honest advice as he kneeled in repentance on the floor. When all was said and done, he looked very happy to go back to school. After that, Amy began to totally immerse herself in her magic studies. Also, these cats, very adorbs. So cute. It wasn't as if she hated studying magic before, but now the possibility of her getting a cat hinged upon it. If she couldn't get serious about it for a cat, nothing could ever make her get serious. With her extraordinary concentration, Amy had improved so much in only half a month that her governess was amazed at her progress. But then Amy's face faced a sudden, unexpected plateau. No matter how hard she tried, it only seemed to make her hungry, and that took precedence over her vital magic study. Due to the high magical aptitude of her mother's side of the family, Amy was born with naturally superior magic powers. However, she had a low total supply of magic, and her casting lacked stability. These aspects were largely influenced by the practitioner's age, so there was a limit to how much she could improve by practice and experience alone. Her 10-year-old body was still growing after all. The only thing she could do was wait. But time was not passing quickly enough for Amy's liking. The longer she waited and futility practiced, the further out of reach her dream of a cat seemed to get. Amy became very depressed over this, but a solution came along from a rather unexpected place. Although her magic training had stagnated, her other plan, eating more and putting on weight, was progressing quite well. The Northlands family chef was very skilled, and the special menu ordered by the Countess helped Amy's body grow at a steady, healthy rate. Her weight increased in all areas of her body, and the change was substantial enough that even she could notice the difference. Her appearance used to be so refined that people would assume she was a cold and unfriendly person, but now, every time she looked in the mirror, she noticed her rounded cheeks gave off a warm, friendly feeling. The weight gained only increased her charm. Then, around the time the seamstress was called because her dresses had become too tight, Amy started to feel a change in the flow of her magical powers. As her weight increased, her magical development stabilized just as much. The magic power she emanated used to trickle out like from a toddler's plastic watering can. but it had now transformed into a large industrial strength hose. From whatever reason, whenever I gain for whatever reason, whenever I gain weight, my magic becomes more stable, Amy realized. Maybe because of magical powers are tied to the individual person, and has some sort of inseparable relationship with the physical body containing it. Like the relationship between an opera singer's figure and their vocal power. Which meant that if she ate more, she can increase both her weight and her magical powers. After coming to this realization, Amy had one more plate of food added to her meal times. And thus we are at chapter 2. Awesome. We're going to come back up here for the cover. And let you see this image. This image is my favorite so far. But that is chapter 1 of I Would Rather Have a Cat Than a Harem. Let me know what you guys think. And all that good stuff. Remember to stay hydrated. I'm gonna drink some water right now. My cat is a very sleepy boy. Good boy. But yeah, all is going well. But let me show you guys my little cat. Oh, here. Look at him. I pick up my webcam and just kind of like sit above my cat for a little bit. Because we're just chilling in bed, reading stories. I try to figure out how to hold cameras. Baby, this is my baby cat. He is no longer a baby, but he a good boy. He a goodish good boy. But yeah, let me know what kind of stories you would like me to read next. What other novels you're interested in me reading. Got the actual page I need to be on. That's my things being messed up. But yeah. Thank you very much for all you guys who are supporting me on Patreon and Ko-fi. You guys are awesome. All that good jazz. If you're interested in hiring me to do artwork, I have commissions open on Ko-fi and on Fiverr. So, yeah, and all that can be found in the link tree. I've also been doing some stuff for OnlyFans, mostly walking on my treadmill while naked. So if any of you are interested in paying like $20 for one of those videos as I walk and watch anime, feel free to go check that out. There's other stuff on there too, but it's mostly just that. So yeah, remember to stay healthy, stay safe, drink plenty of water, and all that good stuff. Bye bye!